Hi guys, this is Akhlaq Hamid. Welcome back to my channel. Now guys, I know it has been some time since I've last done a video, and I do apologize guys. It's because of we had Ramadan and then celebrating Eid, so I do apologize, but I just wanted to do this video here basically on complementary colors. Now when you're editing an image, it's very important to understand this logic. Now if you watch my previous video, I did explain briefly on the complementary colors, but in this video I felt I didn't do a good job there, so in this video I'm just gonna go a bit more deep down. So if you look at the screen here, and by the way guys, I will put a link to this website because it is very useful when editing. So basically this color wheel here is very useful. So all it is, this is a little graph that I've designed. So here we have the primary colors and the secondary colors. So the way this works guys is basically, if you have primary colors, basically we're talking about red, green, blue, and we also have the black here. Now these three colors, red, green, blue, these are the main colors in your photo which make up the full image. So these are the three main colors, so green, red, blue. So always remember these are the main three colors that build up a photo. And on the opposite side is its secondary colors. So we have the cyan, magenta, yellow, and also the white. So these secondary colors are just kind of like basically the opposite to the primary colors. Now, why am I talking about this is because basically when you're editing your image, when we're using selective colors, it is very important to understand this logic. Now, as I said, I did touch on it briefly in my last video, but in this video I'm going to go a bit more deep down. So with that being said guys, so the way this works is basically, supposing if I have an image now, let's say this image here, supposing if I wanted to add some red in this image, now you can see the car here is already red. So if I wanted to add more red, basically what's happening is going back to this color wheel. And as I said guys, I will put a link to this color wheel because it's very useful. So what happens is if I move this slider to the red, now remember what I said guys, opposite of red is cyan. So going back to this chart which I've designed, so you can see red and cyan. So the opposite of red is cyan. It's the same rules apply. So if I move this slider to the red, and can you see what's happening down here? This color chart is indicating that opposite red is cyan. Now, what happens if I go to the blue here? Because remember what we said, guys. Opposite blue, according to this chart, is yellow. So the secondary color of blue is yellow, and again, this chart here, it confirms that. So you can see this color changing at the bottom as well. So it's an easy way of letting you know what what the opposite color is. Now if you look on here, it's got other options as well, like monochromatic, analogs. I'm not going to go into that because it's just going to get confusing. The main basic level is the complementary color. So this is why I wanted to do a video on that, because it's the basic principle of photography. So guys, going back to here now, supposing in an image, what happens is, say like if I wanted to add some red, now not only am I adding red, I'm actually reducing the cyan, because remember opposite red is cyan. If I wanted to add some more green in an image, basically I'm reducing the amount of magentas. So always remember this logic in mind. Adding primary colors, you're not only adding the primary colors, you're also reducing the secondary color. So again, going back to here, if I want to add blue into image, I'm reducing the amount of yellow. You can see how that works. So with that being said, let's just actually demonstrate this in a photo. Well, actually, before I go into a photo, let me just do it here, just so you guys can understand. So if you click on here, this circular object, and can you see that it says selective color? So if I press selective color there, then now you can see over here I've got my red, yellow, green, cyan, blues. Now again, I've already touched on red, yellow, green, cyan, blues and how they work. And you've also got these the three neutral colors at the bottom. So we have whites. So the whites in a photo represents the highlights basically. Neutrals is basically those last three colors are quite separated from the others. So with that being said, guys, so whites, again, whites is basically your highlights in an image. Neutrals are more of the mid-tones. Yeah, so your neutrals are basically the mid-tones, and your blacks are basically the shadows, basically the darks and shadows in an image. So let's just demonstrate this, guys. So now what actually happens is, now if I go to the red channel, remember we're looking at this just so that I don't confuse anyone. I'm just going to get rid of this first. So here, yeah, so let's just pay attention. So if I go on the reds, and let's just say watch what happens to these two colors. So if I go like this, so basically I'm going to go into the selective color here, and then basically what happens is I'm going to go onto the cyan here. Okay, so now that you've got a fairly bit of understanding of that, let me just demonstrate it within this color chart which I've made. So if you click on here, guys, and go on to selective color, now remember what I said, guys, not only are we gonna, if I move the cyan here, not only are we reducing the cyan, or actually if I go on to the red, now watch what happens if I go on to the red and move this slider here. Actually what I'll do is, if I go on to the cyan, if I go on to the cyan, can you see what's happening here? Now when I go like that, remember what I said, guys, not only are we adding more red, we're reducing the amount of cyan. So you might not be able to tell from the screen, but the red is actually going a bit more darker because we're adding red, and when I go like this, we're reducing the amount of cyan. So in a nutshell, when you're adding more of the primary color, you're actually reducing its complementary color. So let's demonstrate that on another one. So let's just, in this instance, let's just say, let's use the example of the green. So if I go onto the green here, now let's try the same method with the green. There, can you see what's happening to the green color? Now I'm reducing the green, and it's also adding more cyan. But what happens if I go on the other direction? So if I go this way, can you see that, guys? So it's adding more green now. Do you see that? Now if I go on to the magenta here, actually I'll try another color. So let me just go on blue, just so I don't confuse you. So if I go on to the blue, remember opposite blue is the yellow. So that's how the complementary colors work. So blue here, now let's just go there. Can you see what's happening to the blue? If I go down that way, I'm reducing the amount of blue. If I go the other way, I'm adding in more yellow. The yellow is actually going more darker. So you might not be able to tell, but it actually is. So So just to demonstrate that further, guys, so you keep this logic in your mind. So adding more red reduces cyan. So let me just demonstrate this in a photo here. Now this is an image that I did this photo shoot some time back. So if I go onto the cyan here, remember what I said, guys? Adding cyan, you're reducing the red. Or if I'm adding red, I'm reducing the cyan. So if I go on to red here, now let's demonstrate this in a photo so you guys understand. Now the only thing in this image which is red is the actual car here. So let's see what happens to that car. If I go like this, there, can you see what's happening here, guys? Look at the car. Can you see what's happening? So with this in mind, so when I add more red, I'm reducing the amount of cyan. So here, all I'm doing here is I'm adding more red and reducing cyan. Do you see that in the image there? And if I go the other way, I'm reducing the amount of red and adding more cyan. That's how it works. So let's try another color. So let's just say for example yellows. Now there is nothing yellow in this photo, maybe the walls. So with that in mind, if we're kind of like adding more blues, we're reducing the amount of yellows. So let's try this in the image. So remember, blue and yellow opposite of each other. So here, if I go this way, can you see I'm adding more blue and reducing the amount of yellows? And if I go the other way, I'm adding more yellow and reducing the blues in the color. So let me just try this with the blue. So if I go into blue here, remember opposite blue is what, guys? Yellow. So let's try that. So if I go on, actually the main difference, you won't notice it properly. What I'll do is I'll go on to the neutrals, because that's when you'll notice it properly. So neutrals, if I go this way, can you see that? So if I'm going this way, it means I'm adding more blue and reducing the yellows. So if I go here, can you see that? Blacks, remember the blacks represent the shadows and the darks. So let's just go on to the blacks. Remember, blacks is the blacks is the shadows and darks. The neutrals is basically the mid-tone. Sorry, my mistake there, guys. So blacks is the basically shadows and dark. So if I go this way, can you see I'm actually adding more whites? If I go this way, I'm adding more darks, because remember, guys, opposite black is yellow. So if I go this way, can you see I'm reducing the amount of darks? And if I go the other way, I'm adding more white. Again with yellow. Can you see that? Now the reason why it's only affecting the black, because I've only got the black selected here. So there. So I'm adding more magenta to the black. If I go the other way, I'm reducing it. Again with the cyan, if I go this way, I'm adding more red. Because remember, opposite red is cyan. So this way is red. If I go the other way, it's adding more black, which is cyan. So going back to this image, guys. Again, if I want to go to reds, remember what we said. Opposite reds, the complementary color is cyan. So here I'm adding more reds, at the same time I'm reducing the cyan. If I go the other way, I'm adding more cyan and reducing the reds. So if that makes sense, guys. So there you have it, guys. So if let's just say if I go on to neutrals here, actually what I'll do is there. So remember, guys, so I'm on the neutrals. What did we say the opposite of yellow was? It's blue. So if I go this way, I'm adding blue. Whereas if I go the other way, I'm adding yellow. Can you see that, guys? That's basically how it works. So slightly. Let's just say I want to add, a bit of yellow slightly. So if I go this way, can you see I've added a bit more yellow here. Now with the magenta, if I go take it this way, remember opposite to magenta is what, guys? Green. So if I go this way, I'm adding green. Other way is adding magenta. So if I go this way, can you see this image is starting to pop? It's starting to pop now. So let's have a look at the before and after now. This is what it looked like before. This is what it's after. Now all I've done, can you see how cinematic that is looking? Now all I've basically done is I've followed the rules of the primary and secondary colors. This is how I've made this image pop. Can you see the difference? Before, after, it's looking more cinematic because I've added that bit of a greenish kind of look, if that makes sense. So that is one way. Now something else I just want to add here. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna quickly save this image here, just so that you guys can I'm just gonna quickly save this image. So this is gonna be our just so that I've got a copy of our before and after, guys. So let me just save that. So yeah, guys, so remember what I said about this color wheel here. It is very useful because you can always go back to this as well, just so you don't get confused. So opposite red is there. So basically I put in here, going back to this chart, opposite red is cyan, and this chart indicates that it confirms that. So you've got understanding of this now. The next thing I wanted to add was basically what actually happens. So let me think of a difficult scenario. So let's just say, for example, we want to add more, let's say, right, let me just think of a difficult scenario. Right, so we've got red, yellow, green, blues, yeah. So what actually happens, let me just get rid of it. What actually happens if supposing if we want only a certain part of that image to be affected. So what do I mean by this? So let's just say, for example, we want his jacket to only be affected by the sliders rather than the whole image. So how do we do that? Simple. I'm actually going to show you that. This is where we use the invert. So let me just show you that. So if I click on, let's go back to the selective color again. So let's just say, for example, I want this jacket to change color. I want to so I want to add more color to the jacket without the whole image being affected. So how do I do that? So I've done the selective color. All you do is control and then I for invert. Now keep your eye on the white square. Can you see that, guys? So what we do is we're sort of like inverting that because the white reveals and black conceals. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take this paintbrush here, then I'm just going to slowly go over his jacket. Now notice what's happening here as I do that. It's showing you which part of the image am I colouring in. So in this case it's the jacket. So now that we've got that, again let's go back to the same method again and watch what happens this time. So opposite of black is white. So let's just go to the neutrals. There, can you see what's happening here? Only the jacket is being affected. Now can you see I'm adding more, right? If I go this way it's red, go this way it's cyan, as you can see here. Opposite red is the primary color of red, the opposite of that is cyan. Can you see that? So if I go this way I'm adding more red, if I go this way I'm adding more cyan. But not only that, guys, remember if I go this way, not only am I adding more red, I'm reducing the amount of cyan. but you won't notice this because I'm only working on the image on the jacket, sorry. So can you see that, guys? If I go this, I'm adding more cyan to the jacket, so it's making the colors pop. So this is how you do it, guys. So in a nutshell, adding more primary colors reduces the secondary colors. That's how it works in an image. So again, I can actually do that. Let me show you a better example with the car. So if I go to here, let's just go on the selective color. Then I want to go on red because that's the color of the red, the car, sorry. So Control and I, and then this will should go black there. Now I'm gonna go over the car here, and you should see the little bit of, it shows you where it's actually being affected. So on the car. Now let's try this selective color method. So here, can you see how the car is only being affected here? So we're adding more red to it here. Remember, guys, opposite of magenta is green. So it's turning green a little bit. Can you see that, guys? Can you see how it's only affecting the car, not the whole image? Again, look at that, guys. Do you see that? Remember, if I want to go on black, it's going to affect the shadows and darks only. Again, yellow, opposite yellow is blue. So if I go this way, I'm adding more blue. Go that way, I'm adding more yellow. Can you see? So that's how you basically do it, guys. That's in a nutshell. If I haven't explained it properly and you still have questions, just pop your comments below. But I hope you've learned something from this, and so next time you edit your colors, just have a play around with this wheel thing over here. And because believe me, it is very useful. I'll add a link to this table here, just so you can have a play around with it. So that wraps it up, guys. If you did like this video and you thought it was very useful, please give me a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you for watching.